car, just keep using it, but it's also... my chances of actually doing a run are really low. Because it's wayward. Completely flying. This is when racing games were really crappy. Like, these polygonal tracks, unless there is zero elevation change, there's always going to be like hard edges every time you run over one of those polygons. And it'll, in a car like this, where it's like designed not to have any forgiveness whatsoever, it'll just throw you completely random directions. Or, you know, this'll happen. What the hell is happening to my screen? We're gonna try and... yeah, nice. Way to return me to the road and put me completely off of the course. Good meme. Why is this flickering? Whatever, dude. We did it. Bob Dobbs. Let's do it. So this track is pretty crazy. There's a bunch of weird shit. There's Bob. The only thing I can think of to, like, justify this track's existence is, like, someone at Looking Glass in 1992 must have been a big Subgenius fan or something, and they put this in as a joke, because I can't imagine any quality control team that knew anything would let this into the game. Quit your job for Bob. Okay, I'll do that, sure, buddy. Also, the menuing is terrible. The buttons to do everything are, like, all over the keyboard. So these tracks aren't nearly as bad as Monterey because there's no elevation change whatsoever. They're pretty much just completely flat. Yeah, you can see it's much smoother. You're not flying off at random. And Monterey is not even that bad in the other cars. It's just with the race car, it's very difficult. Alright, the oval. Now this one's pretty good, actually. So you're pretty much doing 250 miles an hour the entire time. This game also has completely non-existent physics. So if you know anything about the physics of racing, you'll know that they do these big banked slopes because you're able to travel, you're able to corner at a higher speed when you're on a bank than when you're on a flat surface like I am right now due to centrifugal force, or centripetal force. But in this game, the higher you are up on the bank, the slower you go. So the tactic for oval speedway is to literally bomb down the inside at the flattest part of the track at 250 miles an hour without braking. Except I do a little bit of braking here just to prevent me from flying off right there. That one bump is the one thing that can kind of dislodge you, but you'll see as soon as I get up onto the bank, I'll begin to lose speed. Absolutely idiotic. Your eyes would be coming out of the side of your head if you were doing this turn at 250 miles an hour. Ooh, that was a mistake. Not paying attention. Drag strip. Oh, manual transmission. What's my button to shift gear? I forgot. Well, I guess we'll find out. Oh no, that's brake. Shh. Oh crap. Oh, it's A. Of course it is. Thankfully, I don't need to steer. 10.53. Really terrible. Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay. No, come on. That was not a disqualification. I'm on a road. How can I be disqualified? So this track is, or this road, I guess, New York is really crazy. The drivers will swerve all over. They don't stay in their lane at all, probably because this road has no lanes. Somehow. But since I went off there, I don't really have to worry about the cars as much. They sort of go off on their own. You have to maintain a really slow pace. This is bad. Because the road is quite narrow. Thank you for that. Nice reset. I'm not 100% certain, but I think what happens is while you're in the middle of doing a reset or something, or like if you're rotating, it just doesn't know what to do. Yeah. So this is Arkansas. This is like the longest track in the game. It's also got a pretty funny bug. So if you can see on the map on the right side of the screen, there's like a, it looks like a shortcut. That's like a section where the road is like not done or something, like they're doing road works on it or something. And you can cut that. It's easy to do, very easy. Much easier than driving the normal way. But you'll see what happens once we get to the end. It's pretty hilarious. Well, it's pretty hilarious if you've ever tried to cheat in a racing video game before. That's all I can say. Okay, well, we just slammed into a camel at 200 miles an hour, no worries. Those trees were growing in the middle of the road. That's cool, too. So you can see the car's, like, bumping up and down. It's because the road is supposed to be bumpy. And we're going slower than we could otherwise be, because the game's limiting our top speed. But you see we're topping out at about 180, 185 maybe, instead of 250. But this route is just so much easier. You don't have to brake for any of the corners, that you can just pretty much plow through. And then this is like, oh, roadworks, oh, crazy, going off-road. But you just go straight through. So the thing is, if you cut a corner in this game, there's a checkpoint. The game keeps track of these checkpoints in the background to make sure that you're not cutting the course to get, you know, better scores. Well, even though this shortcut is clearly marked on the map, it has no checkpoints on it. So we have missed every single checkpoint that's on the intended route. The intended road, I guess you'd say. And so as soon as we rejoin the main road and go through a checkpoint, this happens. Checkpoint skipped. 1,568 second penalty. So if you were doing a in-game time run of this game, not that anyone runs this game to begin with, you would not want to take that route because you get 1,568 seconds added to your final time. Which is a little over 12 minutes. Actually, it's significantly more than 12 minutes. So it looks like we're done. Yeah, our total time, 28 minutes. So now we have to hit enter to go to the next part. And there's 3 parts to this track because I guess they couldn't put the whole 26-mile track on one course or whatever. But that one is the only one with a major shortcut. You could, of course, just cut across certain areas of the grass, but it costs you so much speed that it's really not worth it. I mean, okay, we got a swerve coming up ahead. Road signs pretty much mean nothing because we can attack everything at full speed. Indestructible on, which means you can't crash. Normally if you crash really hard, you have to start the entire section over. Or the entire thing over. Another thing I should have said at the start, this isn't really a racing game. The only cars you can race against are your own ghosts. Like, there's no AI drivers, really. I mean, you could say there are AI drivers with the ghosts. They're not actually ghosts. Like, you can still crash into them and stuff like that, but they are on a completely programmed path. You cannot budge them aside or do, like, any racing with them. The only reason they're there is for you to pretty much crash into, which makes them almost entirely pointless. But it puts your, like, top 4 or top 6 ghosts on the track with you. So it's like you're racing against yourself. But it's not limited to this type of car, so that means if you do a hot lap in, like, this thing, and then you jump in the Corvette, you're always gonna lose. Which is not exactly... doesn't exactly make for fun gameplay. And of course there's no career mode. No reasonable progression of that, you know, something like that going through the game. It's pretty much just driving around on these roads in these cars. Only 10 cars, only 10 tracks, one of which is the parking lot, so we don't even do it. Blast through here. Apparently I had a penalty. Now we have to go to the third part. So yeah, there's really no useful shortcuts here. I don't know what your maximum speed is when you're in grass, but it's not very fast at all. And like a lot of these turns, ooh, that was bad. The mouse is extremely sensitive. And you can change it, but if you change it too much, it's like not sensitive enough to like really make reactions and stuff like that, which I mean you don't really need, but brake for this. You know, just car and driver things like driving a 1,000 horsepower Le Mans prototype on a public road at maximum speed, cornering at 200 miles an hour. Also, you may have noticed there's like no traffic. Sometimes there's trucks that come the other way. I think there's like 1 per section or something. They're not very common. Another thing about the racing aspect in this game is that, or quote-unquote racing aspect is that, there's really not a whole lot of options to customize it. There's basically a slider that adjusts the difficulty, and you'd think that would be like, oh, the difficulty of the racing, but since you're not actually racing against anybody, the slider just affects the physics. And it does make it more realistic if you turn that slider to hard, but it also makes it really hard because the controls kind of suck. Okay, that's Arkansas. Okay, so it's just California Route 1. and the autocross left. Issues with elevation change. Oh, you can see there. I just go, oh, nice relocation again. You just go completely off if you do anything. Going over a slope is particularly deadly. Ooh, okay, we're flying. Gravity also is more of a suggestion in this game. A lot of these tracks are really short as well, and they only give you one lap. It's a standing start lap. They don't let you just pound around the track for okay, that was fun. This is fun. They don't let you just do lap after lap after lap. It's like one lap, and then you are forced to stop and watch your stupid ass replay. Okay. Okay, autocross. So, in-game time, you're penalized for the cones that you hit, but I don't really give a shit about that, so we're just gonna go through at maximum speed. Or maximum possible, like, you know, whatever. So it's like, oh, do the slalom part. No, I'll just cut over everything and go to the end. Woo! And time. 16:52. What a speed run. Okay. I'll do one more. It's a pretty stupid speed run, but hey,